Hi guys, it's Leo from MediaWay here, and today we're going to create this incredible bedroom scene using free software and free assets from the iMeshh architectural visualization library. This is a beginner level tutorial, so you should be able to follow along nice and easy. Architectural visualization can be a key skill for 3D artists, and it can be very well paid, so it's essential to be able to do it well. As a 3D professional, time is money, and it's rare that you'll have the budget to make models from scratch. So using an asset library like iMeshh is a super quick way to make impressive scenes. Let's get started. Okay, so we'll start with the default scene in Blender. I've got my shortcut keys down here on the left, if you can see them. If you just select the light first, press X to delete it, and delete that. The cube is going to actually be our room. If you press N on your keyboard, you can see this little fly out here, and if you go to the top one that says item, and here we can just click on the dimensions and change the dimensions. So we'll make the room 8 meters long, 6 meters wide, and 2.5 meters tall. And that's going to be the size of the room. And what we'll do, if you press 1 on your number pad and then press G, we're just going to move this up on the Z axis. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is swap the normals. So basically, for Blender to calculate the materials correctly, it needs to know which parts of the model we can see. So normally, with a cube, you're looking at the outside. But with this cube, we want to see the inside of the box. So what we're going to do, if you just click on this viewport overlays and click face orientation, the blue side is normally the part you see. But if we actually go inside the cube, you can see that's all red. We want the inside of the cube to basically have the normals on the inside. So if you just press tab to go into edit mode, then go to mesh, normals, and flip. Now you can see the normals are on the inside of the cube and the outside of the cube is where they're flipped. So you can switch this overlay off now, that's done. So now we're going to quickly add in some windows. So press 3 on your keyboard to go into face select mode. You can also do it up here with this little icon. We're going to select this wall on the right, press I to inset, and we're just going to inset it a little bit this way. You can just eyeball this. Press 2 to go to edge select mode. Just select the top edge, press G to grab, press Z to grab it down, press the bottom line, press G and Z to move it up. So it's more or less, so you more or less got an even gap on both sides. Now what we're going to do, back to face select mode, press 3 or click up here, select the big part of the window in the middle, we're going to press E to extrude it, just extrude it out, that's going to be the windowsill. And then basically what we're going to do is press X, delete that face. If you select this side panel here, press Shift D, that duplicates it, press X to constrain to the X axis, and press E to extrude, and basically we're going to have sort of like a pillar in the middle of the window, so you've kind of got 2 windows inside your room. Okay, from here we're going to go into select the bottom of the windowsill, make sure you're in face select mode. We're going to press Shift D to duplicate it. Like you can see, it's a separate thing now. Just right click to leave it where it was. Press P, and we're going to separate by selection. Now you can see we've got 2 objects now in the list. Let's hop out. So this one, we'll call the cube should be called room, and we're going to call this one windowsill, just so we don't get confused. Okay. With the windowsill selected, press tab to go back into edit mode, press A to select all, S to scale, just scale a tiny bit, E to extrude, just kind of make it look like a windowsill, like it should be there. Okay, great. We're also going to add, back in object mode, shift right click, Shift A to add, we're going to add in a plane, and this is going to be a window blind. So R to rotate, X to rotate on the X axis, 90 to go that way. I'm going to press, let's just whiz around a bit, S to scale, X to scale on the X axis, G to grab, X to grab. Doesn't matter if it goes over the end, we're only going to see the inside of the room. G to grab, Z to move up, we'll just move it up there, something like that. Just press Ctrl A, apply all the scales. We'll do the same for all of those, apply all the transforms. Just good practice. Okay, the last thing we're going to do before we add assets, we're going to make kind of one of those fancy wall panelings. So let's just add that. Shift right click on the floor, press Shift A, add in a cube, S to scale, scale it down quite small, S to scale, Z to scale on the Z axis, just make it a bit taller, G to grab, Z to move it up. So it goes floor to ceiling. They're going to use the, let's just apply all the transforms, use the array modifier, and we're going to have, let's get it on the right axis. Set the factor to 1.1, so we've got a little tiny gap between each pillar, and we'll have just enough really to fill half of the room. G to grab, Y to move on the Y axis. Now I want to basically kind of leave sort of enough room to walk through. Imagine if you're going to walk through there to like maybe a hidden bathroom or something like that behind it. Okay, that's looking good. Save your work. We're going to basically apply this modifier. So just click this little down arrow and click apply to make it into one object. And now we're going to start the fun stuff by adding in some materials and objects from the iMeshh library. So click on the iMeshh tab. Now I'm going to show you how to install this at the end so you know what you're doing. But for now we're going to assume that you've installed everything and you've got the materials and models downloaded. So firstly, click on the Assets tab, which looks like the monkey. Click Bedroom, and we're going to add in a bed, probably that one there. So shift right click on the floor roughly where you want the bed to go, and then click Append Object. Press G to grab, just move it up on the Z axis till it's above the floor. G to grab, X on the X axis, just to put it in front of the wall, and then G to grab Y on the Y axis, move it somewhere over there. Now let's add in a table, probably this one here. Shift right click on the floor, this is going to be a bedside table, and then click Append Object. Click the smaller one, press X to delete, we just want the larger one, S to scale, G to grab, and Shift to grab to stop it moving on the Z axis, just pop it next to the bed. Let's add in a chair, seating, fabric chair, shift right click, we're going to pop this one on the floor down here, append object, R to rotate, Z to rotate on the Z axis, we'll just place it there, G to grab, shift Z, let's just move it somewhere over there a bit. If the room's getting in your way, just click on the room, use the little eye to hide it. So you still got the windowsill and the sort of the window shade to orientate you in the room. Let's just rotate that a bit more on the Z axis. Yeah, something like that. Might make that a bit bigger, but okay, we'll leave it at that for now. Then we're going to add in some decoration. We've got a nice little inflatable dog, which I kind of like. Looks like a balloon dog. Right, if he's coming in the wrong place, because we've not got the room there, just press 1 on your keyboard, G to grab, move him up to floor level, S to scale, and we'll just grab him, move him in the room, R to rotate, Z on the Z axis, something like that. Right, let's get our camera in position now. So what we'll do, switch the room back on, get the view roughly in the right place in your viewport, something like that. That's the view I'm going for. Press Ctrl-Alt-0 on your number pad, that puts the camera in the viewport position. Let's go back, find your camera. We ought to do some housekeeping here really. There it is, camera at the top. Let's just close that down for a minute. Select your camera. Let's just change the focal length to 28mm, a bit wider, so we can fit it all in. If you want to move your camera at all, press Shift tilde just to rotate the view, and then you can use the WASD keys to move forward and backwards, just so you kind of got everything in there. I'm going to add in a light, this one here, shift right click, append object, R to rotate, Z to rotate in the Z angle. Let's just whiz it round. Let's just grab it and pop it in the nice position just there. Perfect. Okay, I think we're done adding objects for now. Just noted that chair's in the floor, so press G to grab, Z to move it up. Let's escape that. So if you want to find something that you've selected in your scene collection, you can just press the period key on the number pad and it'll find it for you. So we just click on the base object of the chair, G to grab, Z to move up on the Z axis. Let's just get it up there. That's it. Perfect. Right, before we add the materials, we're just going to hop into viewport shading mode. Right, we'll get some materials going now on the room. So if you select the room, just click on new material, we'll call this walls. And we'll basically we'll leave everything as default. We'll just select this color to be pure white. We'll have nice white walls. Next, we'll add a floor material. So what we'll do, if we click on the assets, in fact, click materials first, select this as wood floors, and then we'll click this one, TWF 0018, and then click import material. You'll see it appears here, but not on the floor at the minute. And that's because we need to assign it. So with your room selected, tap into edit mode. Number 3 for face select, click on the floor. So it's selected, and click on your wood material and click assign. And you can see now the wood material has been assigned to the floor. It's actually come in a little bit big. So what we'll do, we'll just flick over to UV editing. We'll press A to select the whole thing. Let's just see it so we can see it in here. Let's pop this onto preview mode, and then we'll press S to scale. By scaling this up here, you can actually decide what size your floor is going to be. So I'm just going to eyeball it. Something around there looks okay. Okay, we're going to do the same principle on here. We're going to add a wood effect to the back. So if you click here, go onto your wood. Let's choose a dark wood here, wood 56 cycles. Import material. We can see it's come in here. Right, there's a couple of problems here as well. Let's unwrap this. So what we need to do, click on that so it's selected, press tab into edit mode, U to unwrap, and we'll do smart UV project. And that's projected it pretty well actually. Okay, we're going to add something to the windowsill as well. In fact, we'll add the same material to the windowsill. So what you can do, you can click the windowsill first, then click on the wood that you've just selected. Press Ctrl L and link materials. And we're going to unwrap this just the same. So click on the windowsill, press tab, U, smart UV project. And that's got the windowsill done. Finally, we're going to add in material for these blinds. So if you click here, then click on fabrics. I think we'll go for this one, fabric curtain cycles. Import material, and it's assigned to that. Okay, so the final thing we need to do really is add some light to the scene. So if you go into cycles mode now, everything's pretty dark. So what we're going to do, we're going to use the HDRI asset browser from iMeshh. We're going to click on this, and we're going to use this HDRI that I've downloaded from Polyhaven. It's called Spruit Sunrise. And then click import new HDR. Right, we're going to switch into cycles render, change the device to GPU compute. And what we're going to do, we're going to change two things. Firstly, we'll use the HDR rotation just to rotate round so we've got some sun coming in. I'm just going to keep rotating it till we've got a nice kind of shadow falling across the room. And then we're going to use the ground projection. So slide this up to 1. And basically what this does, it puts the HDRI inside a dome. So you kind of got the flat part of the dome on the floor and then the rounded part going across the HDRI. And that kind of simulates ground super nicely. It's a really nice add-on they've made here for this. So we're nearly there now. I think what we're going to do, we'll add some glass in here to simulate a reflection. So we'll click on the blind, Shift D to duplicate it. I'm just going to scale it on the Z. Pop it there. And we're going to change the material to be a glass material. So click back on your materials. We'll click on glass and go down to glass here, and we'll choose glass green hint cycles. Oh, actually we need to delete the fabric curtain first and click import material. And we've got some nice little reflections going on, and the room still looks great. We'll just make a couple of tweaks to the render settings. We'll just set the max samples to 256, should be plenty. Make sure denoise is switched on. If you are having problems with the rendering times, you can reduce the maximum samples. You could even go down to sort of 64. Well, I'll leave it to 256. The other thing you can do is just reduce the resolution here down from 100% to 50%, something like that. So it'll be smaller, but it'll render much quicker. Okay, let's hit render and see what it looks like. Okay, that's looking really great. Hopefully this gives you a really good idea of a starting point of where you can go for realistic architectural visualization. You could also add some more things in, you know, lamps for the dining room table, a rug on the floor, maybe some ornaments on the windowsill, perhaps some real curtains. There's loads more you could add to this, but this should give you a good grounding in what you need to do to get it looking great. I'm just going to walk through the steps now for installing the iMeshh add-on. Like I said, all the materials and models I've used in this video have been free from iMeshh. They are really high quality assets, and I definitely recommend you look at subscribing to them if this is something you need to do professionally. I've also got a code for 15% off in the description below. That'll help you get started. Okay, to install iMeshh, we need to start at the imeshh.com website. Click sign up now and create a free account. Fill in your email address and password here. I've already got an account. If you click on Asset Manager at the top, you need to download the Asset Manager model structure, and the default materials pack. So click all three of those. So you'll have these three things now in your downloads folder. What you do first is double click the Asset Manager, and you'll see basically this has created lots of folders. Some of them have models in already in a nice, easy to use structure. So you need to copy all of these files onto your hard drive somewhere. So now you can see if you double click, you've actually got nicely set up models and folders ready to use. You'll also see in here there's a materials folder. So if you go back to your downloads and you double click your default materials, you can copy all of your default materials into this materials folder. You actually will need to put them within the right section. So fabric, for example, will go in the fabrics folder. Then finally, you need to go into Blender, and if you go to Edit, Preferences, and then click Install, and then you can actually install the iMeshh AM zip. And if you search for it down here, you'll see the iMeshh Asset Manager is now installed. And if you click on this little drop down here, let's just get rid of these for now. What you can do is actually add your paths that you created to your assets. So for example, you'll have your models. And it doesn't matter what you call them, you can choose your own name. Then choose your path to where they are. And you just choose the root iMeshh library. Then we can add another one for materials. And again, we'll choose the path. We'll choose the path materials. Accept that. And if you just open this up, you can see we've got the right paths going on here. And then finally add one for HDRIs. And I've already got my own path for Blender HDRIs. And that's it. And then when you press N on your keyboard, you should see a new tab that says iMeshh. And you can sort between your models, your materials, and your HDRIs by clicking on these here. If you click on the shop tab on the iMeshh website, just here, you'll get to this page here, and you will see here there's also all of these free models here. Now for the tutorial, I've used some of these models already. You can see the inflatable dog I've downloaded, the chair I downloaded, and you can stick a plant in there as well. And there's also materials here. I think I downloaded the wooden floor and the dark wood here. And once they're downloaded, you just need to copy them into the right folder in your project, and they'll be ready to use in Blender. As you can see, there are actually already a load of high quality architectural models for everything, pretty much everything you could ever imagine for doing interior renders on. The price for this is really competitive. It's $99 for a year's access. And by clicking the link in the description below, you can actually get 15% off this. And that makes for an amazing deal for this quality of models.